Okay, it's the next day. So yesterday was spent driving, getting all the material. I had to go to the junkyard, salvage yard, get all the parts. I had to go get a new tire, and I had to go get paint. So 4 hours driving, getting all this stuff. Spent the rest of the day skinning out this piece. So today I'm going to tell you what I learned from yesterday. So day number 2. I learned a lot yesterday. So see how I've cut out so much of the material, getting up close to where I want to be, getting close to where I want to get to. I got blue tape. This is about where I'm going to cut it off and piece it back, and then I'm going to go about blue tape line underneath those square holes there, straight across and up. That way I don't have to take out the back window. I would really like to get this part done today and at least tacked in place. I have a lot to figure out here on how well I can bend this back in here. It shouldn't be too bad once all this is loose. If not, I have all that material too on the piece still on the trailer. But biggest thing is, so on this one, obviously the dented in area is all the waste. Cut out as much as possible. What it allows you to do is you can see, I don't know, let's try this. You can see inside of what it looks like, where you're cutting, where you're going. I know what my pieces look like on both sides. It leaves a lot. It just makes it so that you can get to everything easier and work on a smaller piece and then peel it out of the way. You don't have so much binding up. So I learned that on this one too. If I would have done that yesterday, obviously I want to keep this big white part. But if I would have gone under and cut out pieces of the fender, down, over, out, I could have had that piece off way faster. I would have been able to see what was underneath it, things that held me up. So this time, so if I ever do this again, which this isn't too bad, I would totally take a different approach to it. So I am going to finish whittling out some of this that I don't need. I'm hoping that then, because this whole bottom piece is just like a seam seal glued in place. I'm hoping I'll be able to kick that down this way a lot faster and easier. Less damage to that part, which is already damaged. And then up here, we're coming straight across, kind of down in here, and right through there. This whole back piece will get replaced. I know there's a dent here, but I think once I get this all loose, I can reach under there. Actually, yeah, I'll be able to pop that out. All right, so I'm gonna whittle away. I'm not gonna keep recording all that. It's literally just cutting away the body panel. Well, that's my first go of setting it in place. Everything is long, so I cut this piece is long up here, and I just cut that off, but it's plenty long right there. So I'm getting things bent out. I'm getting that pretty much formed back in place. You know, I think I'm gonna put some primer or undercoating, spray it all throughout here for everything I nicked or got crumple. I'll do that underneath too. But it's bending out pretty easy. It's easy now without all this tar cover or the shell. This guy. Don't know my terms. But I'm getting closer. I have those welds to do, but I just wanted to see how I was marrying up to this. Okay, so where I'm at now, is there's the pile of pieces. It was way easier to cut that out. So remember, cut out little pieces at a time, work on it. You can see more, do more. I got it marked kind of where, that's where I want to cut it. I want to go under those little squares right there. So I'm going to cut this piece on the floor of what I want, put it up on there, clamp it together, and use it as a guide to cut in, actually to cut off what's left there. Over here, I took my grinder and turned it sideways and just ran it over the welds, and they popped off pretty good. So that's another way to do it. I've seen on YouTube they use some kind of sander they've been using for that. Everything else is bending back. That looks atrocious, but I need the other one on to see more of what I need to form it to. But it's lining up really good here. It's lining up really good here. It's lining up there. This is throwing it off because of all the bends right there, so I need to cut out a lot of material to get it to lay in there better. So I'm going to blue tape this off so that I get a straight line. So I'm pretty much going, I want to go from here. I'll use the tape to lay on here nicely so that it makes a straight line. Same way with right there on the bottom. I'm going to actually use it's like 1-inch tape. I'm going to use the bottom of the tape, so I'm not actually going to cut right where the holes are. I'll show you what it looks like before I cut it. Okay, so I taped it off to give me a straight line. We'll call it straight-ish. I made a curve here because of where I really want it to end up in the trunk. Keeping it away from the glass so I didn't have to take the glass out, and it's within the bends. That'll probably be a little tougher to weld it because of the bends, but I figured the Bondo, after I Bondo it up, would curve better. I'm sure it's going to require lots of hand sanding, probably a better way, but I didn't want to do the glass, and I didn't want to pay to have the glass done, so this is the route we're going. You know, most of it down here will be hidden in the door, so that'll be easy to clean up, and that will be hidden behind the panel. So I'll have this section here that has curves, so if I don't do a great job, like I said, my first time, I'm learning as I go. Alright guys, it's taken me quite a while to get this far. I'd put it up and have to trim something and move it around. This gap ended up being a little bigger than what I wanted it to be, but lots of tacks to hold it in place, and then it's going to take me quite a while to put that all together because you got to do a little bit at a time. So doing alright. My door shuts a little tight, but I think I can adjust it, so we might be good, because everything's lining up the way it was supposed to, just it's tight. It's frustrating. My lines are good, you know, right here. That ended up being pretty big, so I'm gonna have floating a lot of weld. Actually, that's behind something. I could probably actually just use, put some more tacks in it and use that seam seal. Got a little plate that goes over that. Now I'm going to get into here and see if I can shut the trunk and start manipulating this. So, moving along slowly but surely. Well, I'm getting there. Giving up for tonight. This thing wore me out this weekend. I have this welded in, and hopefully I can adjust the door some. I was able to adjust the front one, so I think they're slotted and they'll move. So we'll find out about that. And the trunk doesn't shut that well either. I had to cut out some of these welds and move it a little bit to get it to shut. So mess with that. Inside was bent up pretty good. I probably should have just swapped out the whole thing. But you learn as you go, I guess.